à tous à tous, bienvenue ou re-bienvenue sur la chaîne Beyond the Blocks. Alors voilà, ça fait un petit moment que j'ai pas publié de vidéo, ça va faire un an. Alors, il y a eu une petite pause sur les podcasts en raison de tout ce qui est entraînement, cours, etc. Mais je reviens, les invités reviennent. Donc toujours le format classique des interviews avec une personne, etc. Pourquoi ont-ils commencé la natation? Comment? Euh, un éducatif qui leur plaît, etc. Ça ne change pas, ça sera toujours là. J'aimerais développer un deuxième format en plus également, qui serait donc sur les jeunes athlètes français qui partent aux États-Unis en tant que student athletes du coup, donc comme Léon Marchand entre autres. Il y a aussi Marianne Molu, Lucien Vergne, voilà, qui sont des athlètes français qui sont partis là-bas, qui ont voulu tenter l'aventure. Je pense que c'est important d'en parler, d'en discuter, parce qu'on voit beaucoup tout ce qui est dans les grandes écoles, les divisions 1, etc. Mais il y a aussi tout ce qui est division 2. Il y a plein d'athlètes qui ont transféré, etc. C'est plein de termes un peu plus techniques du milieu qui ne sont pas forcément évoqués ou abordés. Donc voilà, ce sera dans les vidéos aussi, donc ce nouveau format en plus. Voilà, tout simplement. Aujourd'hui, la vidéo est en anglais avec Skyler Smith. Donc c'est une nageuse de l'Université de Caroline du Nord à Chapel Hill. Tout est dans la vidéo, vous verrez. La seule différence, c'est qu'à partir de maintenant, on fera des formats plus courts qui seront pas forcément d'une heure. L'idée, ça serait d'être entre 35 et 45 minutes, pour que ce soit plus regardable pour tout le monde. C'est plus court, c'est plus condensé, c'est plus plaisant. Donc voilà, ce sera l'objectif de la chaîne cette année. À voir le rythme des vidéos encore, ça dépend des invités, de leur disponibilité, de mes disponibilités, etc. Mais c'est prévu, ça revient et on fera au mieux pour avoir du contenu de qualité, comme l'avons fait précédemment. Également, évidemment, c'est de l'anglais pour la vidéo qui arrive. Il y a des sous-titres, donc vous inquiétez pas. C'est YouTube, hein, dans tout le cas, ça y est. Pour ceux qui souhaitent partir aux US derrière, ça peut être intéressant de regarder en anglais aussi. Donc voilà, j'espère que la vidéo vous plaira. C'est une nageuse que j'ai rencontrée l'année dernière, avec qui j'ai gardé contact. Euh, par une personne très gentille, donc qui a accepté d'être dans la vidéo aujourd'hui. Vous verrez, vous apprendrez plusieurs choses. On parle d'éducatif, on parle de mindset. C'est très, je trouve que ça reste très complet, alors que l'appel n'a duré aujourd'hui que 40 minutes. Donc voilà, j'espère que ça vous plaira autant que ça m'a plu de l'enregistrer. C'était un plaisir de la voir et en vous souhaitant un bon visionnage. So, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good night, whenever time it is. Today, I'm with Skyler Smith, a swimmer from UNC, breaststroker, national level, international level. Wanna add anything?
Student athlete.
That's
I
a
mean,
big one,
you know what?
indeed.
Otherwise, no, you got it.
So, student athlete from University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Pretty decent times. We'll see later on about all of that. I probably recorded an introduction before that also, so like I probably added other stuff. Um, so I mean, let's get right into it. So, how did
Yeah.
you start swimming?
So something fun about me is that I grew up in California. I wasn't born and raised in North Carolina, Chapel Hill. So the only reason why I started swimming is my dad wanted to make me a better surfer, so a stronger paddler throughout the water, which is crazy, right? Like when I tell people that story, they're like, "Oh my gosh, what do you mean?" My AirPod's falling out, so I'm gonna put that there. Um, so it was kind of all right, let's throw her into summer swimming. I don't know if they have that in France, but we do like a summer swim league from May to August, and you do like a bunch of little fun meets with like around your little area. So like let's say within like a
Okay.
10-mile radius. And I did that and I started winning all of my breaststroke events. Well, the backtrack. I like couldn't even swim. I could swim maybe a 25, but otherwise it was awful. I had to like learn how to swim in cabana swimming. So whenever I teach lessons now, I always tell people, I'm like, if you really want to help your kids learn how to swim,
Yeah.
throw them into summer swim league. So I did summer swim league, like I said, could barely swim, suddenly learned how to swim breaststroke, won all of my races breaststroke. And then my head coach at the time of my summer swim league was a surfer and a head coach at a call or not college, a club program and was like, would you want to keep swimming? Like you're really good at this. And 9-year-old me was like, or eight and a half, nine. I was like, yeah, I love winning. This is so much fun. Let's keep doing that. And here we are now at Carolina. 13 years later, I think it is, which is crazy to say.
Yeah. I've met some people that are like that started swimming a while back, but that's not like the original way to start swimming. I guess people are just like, I need to learn how to swim because it's like
Hmm.
more of a safety reason or something. Surfing
Yeah.
was is not a common one. I'll be honest on that.
No, no.
And that's another big difference between like at least France and the US that you guys have like the summer league swimming, whatever. Like we don't really do that for us. It's like September, October to like
Yeah.
June. And then the summer we don't do anything. We just rest. That's a big
Yeah.
difference. And I think it's actually it's not a bad idea because like if you don't want to swim the whole year, you can just like do summer classes and like learn whatever and still have fun.
It's super
So,
cool. I mean, like, especially in North Carolina, summer swimming wasn't huge in California. Like, everyone plays sports, regardless if it's swimming, water polo, soccer, football, baseball. Like, you play sports. But in North Carolina, summer swimming is like God. Everyone has to do it. They live it for the glory. It's crazy. You have 18-year-olds doing it. We're like, in summer swimming, once you get most of the kids, it's half club kids and then half kids who do it
yeah.
just in the summer just to have fun kind of deal. The club kids usually stop doing it 11, 12 years old max. And maybe you'll get a few 15, 16-year-olds do it because it looks good on college applications. You know what I mean? Like the bare
Yeah.
minimums. But it's crazy in North Carolina. You have 18-year-olds who are like, oh my God, I won my final summer league championship. This is such a huge deal. I'm like, dude, you're literally going to a Division 1 school. How is this so big? That's interesting too.
Yeah, I'll just like for the French audience that is watching us right now. Basically, that's one big difference between like us and the US is that here you have club swimming, college swimming, the summer leagues. In France, we just have club. Like that's pretty much it. You have like college swimming, but it's more like for fun, to be honest. It's like a
Really?
oh yeah, it's a week of just people like partying and have fun with each other. That's pretty much it. So like, it's a really, really different environment. And I find this really interesting that like here, I would talk to people and they're like, oh yeah, I did like the senior champs. I'm like, you're 18. What senior champ are you talking? Like,
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
Because for us, senior is like over 25. It's
Hmm.
like, so we have the national one, like elite championship, and then you have senior, it's like a different qualification time, whatever. It's like easier, but if it's like old people, if I may
Hmm.
say. And it's
Yeah.
just you have such a large panel of like options for swimming, I think sport in general probably, which is
Mhm.
like I find this really interesting and good in a sense because like you get people can try everything, even like in college, you have NAIA, NCAA, NGCA. So no matter the level you're at swimming wise, you can like find somewhere to compete at. And that's also like I think a very good thing.
Yeah, I totally agree. I love it.
So, okay, let's go more into your career specifically. You're a college
Hmm.
athlete. You've been to international meets. I'll do a quick breakdown of something I've wanted to mention. US, you have a FINA point amount of 862.30, which is my mom just sent me a text. Thank you. Of 862.30, which ranks you 59th in the country. But in France, that would be seventh with the same amount of point, which is a big difference. It's like 52 places, which is not like
That's like
neglectable.
small.
Yeah, it's not small at all. So it's so much more dense overseas than in other countries. I think Italy is still also really good, but they're not as dense. So like Europe is the same. I think the only country that would be this I could compare this to is probably China at this point. How is it for you competing in such a dense country?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm just gonna talk about college swimming right now. For example, up until maybe 2.5, 3 weeks ago, I had the number 3 or 4 time in the NCAA in the 100 breaststroke. Solid time. Like, don't get me wrong, 58, 24, 26, whatever it is. Good time. Like, it's my best time. No complaints. I know there's definitely room to get faster. Gretchen Walsh just won a
Yeah,
56.86. Like, I know Gretchen's sorry for, she's badass. Like, I'm gonna put it out there.
yeah.
She is, like she's the queen of short course yards. She does it because she's so good at walls. I'm not gonna discredit her brushstroke. Like, she's a freak of
Oh no,
nature. She can do
yeah.
everything. But her walls are amazing. Her pull downs are out of this world. I haven't seen the race yet, but I know she's gonna destroy her sister on every single wall. She just has that ability. She's amazing, right? Like
I mean, we saw it
Gretchen
at like
doesn't.
world champs. She was like the
Yes,
underwaters were another
insane.
world.
And I'm saying, here it is. Gretchen Walsh does not train 100 breaststroke, or not that I know of. Alex Walsh trains breaststroke.
Yeah.
Gretchen does this for fun. Gretchen goes the number 2 time in the country. I'm like number 8 now, okay? Like, she has just, think of it. She hasn't swum breaststroke. The other US Olympian 100 breaststroker is on her team. Like, played games with her. Like, it's just she's a freak of nature. And I feel like we
Oh
have
yeah.
so many of those in the US, right? And I was talking, I think it was either you or someone else on the Mare Nostrum tour, where I was talking about how USA has so many good swimmers. And they were saying because of the facilities, we have so many more facilities, we have access to more
Yes.
coaching. And that blew my mind. Here I am thinking swimming,
Oh yeah.
swimming. And I had someone once tell me, when you go to the US, it's 50% passion, 50% science. When you go to Europe, it's 15 to 20% passion, 75 to 80% science when it comes to swimming. And maybe I think that's what European swimming is lacking, is more passion, more creativity in the sport. Like, my coach is from Colombia. We do a lot of funky drills and he's always willing to go outside the box. And I think that's
Mm.
really, really beneficial, not only like
Yes.
interesting, but it's beneficial because it pushes me outside of my comfort zone in training to see, oh my gosh, I didn't think I could do that. This is awesome. And to go more back on the dense part, so we're gonna go timeline a year before I go to Mare Nostrum. I was at the 2023 US World Champ Trials. I went a 30.4150 breaststroke. I got fourth overall. At that time, that was like the number 7 or 8 time in the world. Like, I had no idea. I was 19 years old and I'm like, oh my God, I'm 50 breast. Like, this is cool. I don't know what this means. Like, as much as I am a swimmer, I'm totally not a swimmer. And
Okay.
I was like, oh, this is awesome. And my boyfriend at the time was like, do you know how many FINA points that is? And I was like, what's FINA points? Like, totally clueless, right? Here you are announcing my FINA points. And I was like, I didn't know what that was up until maybe 2 years ago. He was like, oh, this is legit, Skyler. Like, do you know how fast this is? And I
Yeah.
was like, no,
No,
no, no,
I'm here.
exactly.
I'm fun.
And
It's fun.
exactly. And then I see Worlds and I'm like, oh my God, I would have gotten top 8 at Worlds. But what was I doing? Sitting my butt at home watching Worlds because 3 other girls went faster than me and they only take one in the 50, right?
Yes.
So it's not like a slap in the face, but it's like, oh, I'm really talented. However, there are like 10 more girls more talented than me
Yeah.
in this event. And when I went to the Mare Nostrum tour, my coach originally sent me there just kind of, he was like, I've never been outside of the country up until that meet.
Yeah, you told me
I
that.
literally never traveled. Yeah. So that right there was just boom, wake up into reality, learn how to travel by yourself. So I go to that meet and I'm all freaked out traveling by myself. And then I swim and I'm like, oh my God, these are all people I watch in the Olympics or at World Championships. I don't want to say I'm keeping up with them. Some of the events I was, like my 100 breast is completely different compared to, some of the other
Yeah.
girls' 100 breaststrokes, but it was really cool to sit there and race with Rayona Aoki, who goes a 105 100 breast long course. I'm a 107.5, and be like, her and I are going head to head in every single 150 breaststroke.
Smith 4, Aoki 5, girls in 6. We're the first time of asking. Skyler Smith finishing second behind Sophie Hansen in Cannes, and Benedetta Pilato of Italy and Barcelona. 2 very good silvers for her there, and she picked up here the bronze in the 100 breaststroke behind Scout and Anna Aoki last night in Monaco. So Smith in 4. Can she pick up a big win here? Aoki doing well in lane 5 for Japan. It's going to be very tight for Nikek, is also up there in 3. But Nikek, Smith, Aoki, 3-4-5. Smith wins it! 30-55. The only American to travel to Europe this week for this. She has won it!
Swam it 6 to 8 times. That was so cool, right? She's the Asian
Oh yeah.
Games winner. I'm racing Benedetta Pilato in a 50 breast, and I'm swimming next to her, and I'm watching her go past me, and I'm getting so excited because I'm like, what if I make ground on her? She's the old world record holder. It gave me this sense of confidence like no other.
Yeah.
Not that I want like a bunch of Americans to go to the Mare Nostrum because I loved it, and I'm like, no, 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 let me just go. But it was
Please.
something literally, right? It was just so refreshing because I've always
Yeah.
had the talent. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but it's so hard competing in the US when you have
Yeah.
people like Gretchen Walsh, who doesn't swim breaststroke, goes the number 8 time all time. And you're like, I've done this for 13 years, and here I am, like, oh, yes, I have my
It's
little
like that's the
58
main
too.
thing is that short course yards, there's so much underwater that like you don't have to be good at swimming
No.
specifically. You can just like have a huge underwater and like be awesome at it and just still make like something insane. I mean, she's good. Like it's not
Yeah,
forget
Gretchen's
about
insane.
that.
Gretchen wins all her titles. She deserves every
Oh
single
yeah,
one of
she
them. She
oh
doesn't
yeah.
just deserve it, she earned every single one. Like, end of story.
But it's insane because like I'll talk about Leon because like for me that's like a point of reference. But like I don't count how many times he was like, yeah, yard is so fun because like you do underwaters and like it's faster. It's like you race more and like it's just really it's funnier overall, I think. Even though like the 50-meter long like the long course pool is like really I'm gonna say the standard yard,
Mhm.
like it's a great way to like make swimming fun again. And I know like a bunch of swimmers from France that were like I'm tired of like the way we do it back home. So like let's go to the US and like try something different to see like if that reignite the passion for swimming that I've had for like so many years, even though like at some point it burned down. I want to try this and have more fun. And that's I think a good way because even for me, like I would have not be able to do that back home. And here it's just like working when you said that like you have more facilities and everything, it's true because back home being able to like swim and study at the same time, good luck. It's really
Wow.
it's that's what like a lot of us are leaving or like I know some people that just stopped school that just kept swimming just to keep swimming because for them it was easier to just do that. And coming here, I'm in Division 2. I'm not like I'm a mid Division 2 program, whatever. But we have the trainers, we have the pool, we have the gym for the athletes, whatever. And you're just like there's so much like stuff that we have that like we don't find in Europe unless you're like in
Yeah.
the top two, three clubs in France. But like there's so much more to offer on the sports side here. And I think that's, as you said, something that Europe is might be lacking because we're like really stuck in the old ways to do things. And I think there's like a balance to find between like the old and the new way of swimming. I'm not a fan of like USR PT, Brett
Yeah, I
Howke's type thing. No disrespect to Brett, I'm sorry. But it's not, I know it doesn't work for me, for example, but maybe it works for you in breaststroke, I don't know. I think it's like there's a balance to find for everyone, but indeed, it's the US has I think more to offer swimming what at least sports wise than what Europe has done so far.
yeah, I agree.
Okay, let's move on to the next question. Um, I would go into like a psychological aspect, maybe. How do you prepare for a race knowing that like you're the number one breaststroker at UNC, that you're like a like solid top 10 in the country, either it is short course like college swimming or like nationwide. How do
Mhm.
you like get behind the blocks? Like what's your mindset?
Yeah. So I don't want to say I have two different mindsets, but me as a short course yard swimmer is very different from me as a long course swimmer. I'm really good on top of the water. Building my walls, building my pull downs is something I've worked a really long time on. They're still not where I want them to be, which is good and bad, right? Like with short course yards, you want them to be amazing and you want to be able to do,
Yeah.
all the crazy stuff and gain so much underwater, but it's not something I've been able to develop quite yet. So as a short course swimmer, it's definitely different just because when I swim long course, I know my exact stroke count. I know that I'm going to
Yes.
take 20 to 21 strokes down. I know that I'm going to take 23 to 25 strokes on the way back every single time I swim 100 breast, like without a fail. And I know if I mess it up, I'm not going to go the time I want. 100 breast short course yards, I have a stroke count. I think I followed it once this season. The one time I did do it, I went like a 57.6 or 7 in the 100, but it was off a relay. So, like, not
Oh,
completely there. And I know
but
if I follow the stroke count, and hit all my walls perfectly and have an amazing pull down every single time, it'll all fall together. But I
yeah.
you know, gone a few 58s and they've all had different stroke counts.
Yes.
So to backtrack on that, when I swim short course yards, college dual meets are very different than college championship meets. College dual meets, depending on who you're competing, the ACC is so tough. So like when we go up against NC State and Duke, it's a different mindset than if I'm going up against. I'm trying to
Yeah.
think of any other ACC teams we competed against this year, but I don't think like UVA, right?
Yeah.
UVA, I still kind of have the same mindset going in. It's like, okay, you always, whenever you get to the blocks, this is the biggest thing that I feel like changes as you get older. If you don't go up to the blocks, this is like my one piece of advice. If you don't go up to the blocks thinking that you can win the race, don't swim the race. Like, you can't go up to the blocks and be like, oh, I hope I get third or fourth. No, every time you stand up to the blocks, you have to believe in yourself that you could win the race. Otherwise, why are you doing it in the first place?
Yeah, I mean,
You
yeah.
know what I mean?
If you're here, like you're for a reason. So
Exactly. I was like, I'm not gonna, work my whole entire swimming career to sit there and be like, oh, I hope I get third in the race. Like, no, I want to get after it.
it's true.
So that's the first thing that I was going. But into a short course dual meet, it's trying to attack all of my walls, have a great stroke count. It's the normal, let's do, perfect this, and this, and this. Whereas conference, it's okay, get your hand on the wall first. Can you achieve all of your stroke counts? Can you, execute your race properly and get a medal, get bronze, go a best time, break a school record, get as many points as you can. Same thing at NCAA's. Whereas when you're swimming internationally or long course, it's more like, okay, how can I get to the wall fast enough? How can I beat everyone? Because there's prizes involved. There's prize money,
Yeah.
right? It's not so
Yeah.
team focused. It's prize money. It's not so team focused. When it's
It is
team
not
focused,
indeed.
you're competing. I mean, you always want to compete for something bigger than yourself, but you're not competing necessarily. I'm
Yeah.
competing for UNC during college. I'm not competing for UNC when I'm overseas. I
Yeah.
am, but I'm competing for myself. So I feel that's kind of the difference. But something that I've been working on in college dual meets, I have a really hard time swimming 200 breast yards. That's something that always freaks me out.
Yeah.
I call that mid distance. It's still technically a sprint, but it's not my favorite race. And I have all these affirmations I tell myself before I swim it. I let all the confidence of practices just sit there and be like, okay, Skyler, like you know how to swim this race. Go and do it. You're capable. So
Yeah.
that's kind of different, but having confidence, like I said, believing you can win any race you're in, and then just knowing how to execute your race. Those are the three things that you really need to do.
One thing that I think I will say for our young audience that is thinking about college is that that's my personal take. Maybe you will agree or not. Dual meets is more about prepping for the conference and national championship. I think that when you're at dual meets, it's where you have to like because you can practice like your stroke count and practice everything, but like once you're in a race, the adrenaline, the suit, whatever, it changes at least for me like a whole the whole balance. And I think dual meets are like the good way to like more than just being like, oh, I have to win and be fast. It's also like I need to hit that stroke count, see where I'm at, see if like this works or not. It's like your time to try stuff and see what can be done or not. Because you can only so much like practice at practice. Practice like in race mindset and stuff at practice is like you can do it, but like it's not the same in the end, like exactly. So that's what I will say. And then yeah, of course, I mean you have to be like believe in yourself. Like otherwise, like there's no reason to like just be there. Uh just yeah. And yeah, I mean that's yeah. You
It
said
was like well
everything.
said. I was like, you said, yeah, it's like you framed it perfectly.
Okay, next question, moving on. Unless you have anything to add to this topic, maybe.
No, you're good.
Believe in yourself, you can do it. You're here for a reason. Remember that. So on the physical aspect, so you're a sprinter. I'm a sprinter too, so like this is gonna be more of a sprint breast discussion, let's be honest. What kind of exercise or drill, maybe a set that you wanna like that you think is beneficial, not maybe like a fun one that's it can be just hard, but you know it works, for example. So what is something that you know works for you? You send me a video of like on the power towers. Um, hit me up.
Yeah. So we also in college swimming, there's a completely different spread than like what I do in club swimming. So I lift 4 times a week. I do dry land 2 times a week. So the days that I'm not lifting, I'm doing dry land. And then we do 3 doubles a week. Oh, my hand looks so weird like that. We do 3 doubles a week. So like a Monday morning, it's kind of aerobic. And then Monday night is breaststroke threshold. So it's aerobic breaststroke, which I'm like, what is aerobic threshold? We never did that up until my sophomore year. For example, my least favorite
Yeah.
set, and my roommate sitting across from me, I know if I say this, it's gonna send shivers down her spine. 2100s breaststroke. Yeah, she just cringed. 2100s breaststroke, we would
Oof.
do. We still do it. I hate it. It's a mental set. I'm not
Oh yeah.
recommending this for people. Like, I don't even like doing it. But that was something that gave me so, right? It was
That's
something that gave
terrible.
me so much confidence for 200 breasts my sophomore year because
Yeah.
I was like, the first 2100s of 2100s are so easy. Why can't this 200 be just as easy? Or like, I do 20 of these. How bad is one 200? So that helped. We do a different variation of it now. So like now we might do 9 100s where it's like 3 100s build breaststroke on anywhere from like 150 to 230. Or we'll do 3 100s as fast as you can go breaststroke, holding stroke count, and then 3 100s off the blocks. We call them wobble 100s because literally you're trying to go as fast as possible. Like I know I went like 103, 106, 111, like literally was going like boom, boom, boom kind of deal. It was bad. Um, and that's something where you're exhausted. Like that's a set that I
Oh yeah.
hate, but I also know that works so well for me. This is all for short course. Long course is
Yeah.
completely different, but for short course, that works. And then another set that I love, short course yards, that I feel like does such a good job for my 100 sprint and like 100 takeout, 50 for the 2 medley relay. 450s. I have to hold. It depends on like where we are in the training. So I think this past time it was 27.2 I have to hold off every single 50 breaststroke off the blocks. It's on as much rest as possible. So I think this time we did it on 8 or 9 minutes because I was doing it with
Okay.
the team and they were doing something else. You had to hold less than I think I said 27.2.
Yeah.
I couldn't take more than 6 strokes on the way out and no more than 8 strokes on the way home. And then I wasn't allowed, I'd have to redo it. So I ended up doing, I either did 650s or 750s because I messed up. Yeah. Because I have to hold to the 8 yard mark. I have to be faster than 3.3 seconds
Okay.
because that's the timing out for my pull down. If I'm not there, then I'm not going to go the goal time I want to go. Like I said, my coach is from Colombia. Like he's no joke. So that's a set I love because it makes me work on details, but at the same time, it's so frustrating. You'll be like, oh, 3.4. And I'm like, how do you know it's 3.4? How do you know it's 27.31? That could have been 27.29 and you just didn't get. And he goes, nope, do it again. So that's two of the things. And then my favorite drill, it's a drill I started doing when I was really young. I don't want to say I created the drill because no one's had an original thought like ever. But this was something I kind of came up with when I was younger. It's called 3-3-3 sprint breaststroke. So you do 3 kicks breaststroke in your breaststroke streamline. So like your hands like this, head
Okay.
up, arms straight. You do 3 kicks as fast as possible, making sure your toes touch every single time. Because I feel like a lot of kids forget that when they like you're supposed to clap your feet, your toes are supposed to touch everything in your whole entire leg, supposed to
Okay.
be touching together. Yeah, that
I'm learning
always gives
breaststroke
me
at 21 years
right,
old. It's
right.
perfect.
So, yeah. This is where I get all technical. So you do 3 kicks as fast as possible, head up, hands in your breaststroke streamline, and then you do 3 strokes, head up breaststroke, trying to work on getting your hands and feet correct, in that perfect line, and then you'll do 3 actual strokes breaststroke. And I always do it with paddles on. It's the best fast twitch drill for me. Uh, I move so much water, and my coach saw me doing it one day, and now we do it all the time when we warm up for our sprint sets. Like it's something that's just boom, 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 getting you going.
Yeah.
And then when I race the 50 breasts, it looks exactly like how I did the last 3 strokes of my 3-3-3 drill. So those are probably my two favorite sets for short course yards, and then my favorite drill.
Efficient. I like that.
Mhm.
I so the Skyler Smith breaststroke drill. Now it'll be official. It's gonna be out there for people. I can't really illustrate that better than what she said. Maybe I'll find something. If you have a video of it, maybe eventually I could put this in. But I think
Yeah, I might actually.
it was pretty clear. I think overall, I think people understood. It's not, I think, that hard of a drill. I think it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
But okay, then okay. But the 31, 30. Wait, is this 31 100s or 30 100s?
2100s breaststroke.
I thought you said
I
30.
have, however, I have done 30. That was awful. I did that in high school. That was miserable. And then we
that
went into
is
1800s fly, but we're not talking about my high school swimming. That's just, that would be another podcast. Like, no.
And also, I think that we talked about it, like your coach knows my coach, which was like
Yes.
something really, I don't know, unexpected. It's because we met so last year in Monaco
Mhm.
randomly. She was sitting behind me and my friend. We spoke, and then I got back home, I think, and you talked to your coach about it, I think, or something. And
Yeah.
like we figured out
It,
that our coaches know each other, and we're just like, this is the world is small in the end in swimming, I guess.
that was well.
Okay, we have 10 minutes left, so let's move. I think we're almost in a pretty good way, let's be honest.
Cool.
So, um, do you have maybe like an advice or something you would like to share to younger swimmers, maybe breaststrokers specifically, or maybe your younger self, something that you would like to say to this person?
Yeah, I mean, even if I give it to my freshman year self, like you really just have to believe in yourself. Linear or success isn't always going to be linear. Like
Yeah.
my freshman year of college, I swam so poorly. I got really sick all the time, and I was just so heartbroken. Like I was so bent out of shape over this because I thought I was going to be some big impact, and I wasn't, and it broke my heart. And I remember we have an all athletics banquet kind of award show.
Yeah.
So they have I'm sure Florida does this too. We call it our
Oh yeah.
Rammies. Our mascot's a ram. And there's this one category called the breakthrough athlete.
Yeah.
Basically means they didn't have a good season and the next season they just had this insane event happen or they really broke through like breakthrough athlete, right? You had this amazing event. And I remember watching this my freshman year and I was like, I want to win that award. I want to be a
Yeah.
breakthrough athlete. And I always like joke like it's kind of motivating. It's always stuck in the back of my head, but it was never like my sole purpose. My junior year, I won the award. I got nominated for it and I won the award. So that was like a really big full circle moment for me. That was just the coolest. Like that's probably my biggest success is what I did that in an interview the other day was that award just because it meant so much to me and a
Yes.
true, idea that you can achieve what you want. You just have to be able to push through. So success isn't linear. And then I would grow a ton when I was a little kid. So I'd like wake up and grow an inch overnight. So I'd have one really good, yeah.
That is
Yeah.
insane.
Uh, so I'd have one really good year and then one awful year growing up because I literally had to relearn how to swim because I'm growing into my body.
Yeah.
So don't let, puberty and everything else in your life stop you from swimming because you're not having a good year. Wait it out, be patient because your time will come. Yeah,
That's something
I feel
like
like those
that.
are my two big things.
It makes sense, honestly, yeah. And like that's something that actually kind of shocked me when I met you last year because so we were like sitting and it was like bleachers. So you were sitting like above me and my friend, and I just like because like you're like 6'1" something, I believe, 6'1",
Yeah, I'm
6.
6'1".
So like I mean I'm 6'1", but I was like, wow, okay. Like
Yeah.
like, you're tall. And like
Yeah.
to go also the aggression wash, like I remember like seeing like her height and I
She's a
was
big
like,
girl.
damn.
Yeah.
So like that's maybe something I will say to people is that like as you said, physique and like it's not easy, especially when like getting you're going through puberty and everything. And also like your body doesn't like really determine like how you're gonna swim at some point. You could be like, I don't know, like no offense, but fat at like 12 and then you keep swimming and then you end up at some point you're just like a beast in your thing.
Exactly.
So believe in
Exactly.
yourself, be patient. It takes time. Nothing is ever perfect. And yeah, so any plans for the future maybe that you want to discuss?
Yeah, I'm going to ACCs here in a week. No, it's 10 days. Oh my gosh, it's 10 days. That's our conference championships.
Yeah,
And then I have NCAAs to cap out my college career. And then I will see you hopefully at Mare Nostrum again, because I will definitely be there.
I hope.
Um, and fingers crossed, I make world championships. That's the goal. So hopefully I'll be in Singapore this summer. Yeah.
I hope for you. I hope I see Monaco. That would be like honestly awesome. Maybe I'll try
Yeah.
to like make a quick vlog and like you can be in there if we get there.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Thank you for your time. It was really nice
Thank you.
discussion. Really interesting. I mean, as usual, I always have guests that are like really impactful, I would say. And also, I mean, you're my age. We're like, what? When are you 22?
August.
Oh yeah. So like, yeah, when the cure, you have a lot of time ahead of you. So like,
Mhm.
if it's not this year, it might be next year, whatever. But
Exactly.
I'm not too worried. I've checked Swim Cloud. I've checked the the